Welcome back to Till All Are Done, the show where we're covering one toy for every character in the Transformers universe. We'll be reviewing a whole bunch of Minibots in the next handful of episodes, but if you want to start from the very beginning, check out the playlist in the description or click the card in the corner. But the best way to stay tuned for new episodes is to subscribe and see which figures I'm going to showcase next. The Minibots are a group of Autobots that are smaller in stature compared to some of their brothers in arms, but can still kick ass and be valuable members of the team. This includes Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, as well as the Minibot we're going to cover in this episode, Brawn. They are based off of the mini vehicle toys in the original G1 toy line, which we also know came from Japan with a toy line called Microchange. The entry point for collecting these was inexpensive and you have simple transformations. For me, they are too primitive, but I do get the allure of it completely, especially for people who grew up with them, and I might be persuaded to come across a complete set of these Penny Racer inspired toys. But for this episode, we are taking one of these Minibots and showcasing him in a very different design. Very different. We've explored the Studio Series Bumblebee Movie line before with Wheeljack, and now we will hit it up again, but this time with the rough and tough Brawn. That opening scene of the movie is still so iconic, and for as little time as Brawn spends on screen, we get a lot more value from the design with this Studio Series toy. Transformers! What we have here is a very nice take on the G1 character, very much doing its own thing, but definitely paying attention to what's already been here since 1984. Look at this incredible head sculpt, or rather, head and helmet combination. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Look at this thing. This not only screams Juggernaut, but it completely works with the theming of the character being a Cybertronian miner. And that attention to detail and character theming is incredibly strong here, and it feels like the designers had a lot of fun with it. You'll see the alt mode later, but just looking at the total robot mode, you have this robotic looking suit that screams mining tech. He looks like he's wearing armor that looks like green and yellow Gears of War cog armor. Brawn's wearing a big helmet, but it's still small and sunken into the torso armor. Then you have the armor on the shoulders and forearms, plus on the knees as well. Then the piece de resistance is the boots. They look fantastic with the detailed soles that show Brawn is doing some serious stepping. Aside from the armor itself, you also have some nice detailing on the parts between the armor, like inside the torso with this nice cybernetic greebling. Head to toe, this design is amazing, and they are certainly doing a really good job translating the Cybertronian Brawn from the screen to the toy. I mentioned the greens and yellows, which is perfect for the Brawn color scheme, but they are a bit darker than usual to fit the on-screen aesthetic too. Plus, you have some nice hits of silver accenting in all the right places, like this bit on the torso, the inner thighs, and on the shoulder armor. You also have this nice Autobot insignia here looking great. The back of the legs retain most of the base color of the plastic, at least it's really nicely sculpted with some gears, joints, and whatnot. But speaking of legs and wheels, they have these ones sticking out, and they could have fixed this by rotating them inward. It would have made him look like he has cheeks, but who doesn't love a bit of shiny metal asses on their Transformers from time to time? These wheels may seem like they are chilling, but they will come back to bite us later. Watch. They always do. His drill weapon is another cool item that completes the costume, so to speak. Great on the alt mode and perfect for some CQC when Decepticons get too close. The other weapon is sort of familiar, as we showed it off in our SSBB Wheeljack episode. It is nicely detailed but lacking paint apps, just being gunmetal gray. When you put it beside Ratchet and Wheeljack's rifles, it's not really that special, plus it could be similar to more toys in the line, but I just haven't collected them yet. I appreciate the sculpting though, plus the actual size of it too. It stands pretty damn tall compared to the height of our scrappy Brawn, but the ultimate way to wield the weapon is by combining them by placing the drill on the front of the cannon. This thing looks like it's gonna shoot some serious energy blasts. The fact that he can hold this thing with one hand is impressive as hell. But I like to pose the gun being held with two hands across the chest, even though the gun only has one peg. The chest is thankfully not getting in the way. There's also a very small porthole in the middle of the gun and a matching peg on the side of the drill, so you can combine them in this fashion instead. I think this also looks super cool, and I love how much play factor these weapons are giving you. You'll also be able to pose quite a bit with the different combinations, and that makes up for the fact that the gun is lacking a bit of pizzazz and paint. Unfortunately, weapon storage is not really worth it. There is a small peg on the back, but it's up too high and it makes the gun stick right up there. Even when you turn it to the side, you can still see it very clearly on the sides of his body. The drill works better, but still not the best. On his shiny metal ass, there is a porthole, but there's no way to mount the drill there without a matching peg. And the gun, despite having the peg, won't fit there either because of the sheer size of the rifle. It just doesn't work out, and it pains me to put this stuff aside, but it is what it is. The figure is already pretty small as it is. Articulation wise, this toy can be a bit awkward in certain spots. I suspected this considering the helmet and the torso piece, but you practically get no head movement except for a bit of left and right. But I understand. The shoulders are also weird in that the arms attach via a ball joint, but then under the shoulder armor you get a double mushroom peg. I don't see the need for this type of assembly unless it saves them budget or something like that. You get 360 degrees of rotation still, but it's less than 90 degrees outwards thanks to the ball joint. Where the shoulders meet the torso gets a very slight amount of pivot, but I guess it's something. It's really used for transformation more than anything else. You get double jointed elbows, which are rad, but the armor pieces prevent them from doing a full 180 degree bend for maximum. Then you get 360 wrist rotation. Some kind of bicep or tricep swivel would have been nice to have here. It would have made it so much better. But you'll have a 360 waist, plus if you unpeg the backpack, you get an ab crunch, so that's cool. Those wheels come back to bite you as they prevent the legs from swinging outwards, giving you only 45 degrees. See, I told you. Rotating in front and behind is a solid 90 for each, but it's just the outwards that got impacted. Actually, the front is good enough to get the feet up to about the height of his head. Pretty interesting. Knees pull a 90 degrees backwards, but you can do a lot of cheating by unpegging the shins. Work the right camera angles and you can really get some nice posing with that ability. Plus you have a 360 knee swivel to help you out with that. Then the feet are pretty good too, with 90 degrees inward pivot and 90 degrees downward toe articulation. So there is some awkwardness, like I said earlier, but not all bad. The lower half articulation seems to be better than the upper half. Transformation for this guy is actually pretty fun. Once you get it down, you start with popping the head down into the seat and you lift the legs for the tank, and then you... Hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? Toilet? A Cybertronian crapper? What is going on here? This ain't even right. He's even doing his best skibbity toilet. I can't with this. Let's rewind this. Let's go back and let's try this from the top, please. Transformation for this guy is actually pretty fun once you get it down. The robot mode back unclips to become the front of the alt mode, and then you have this nice domed transparent plastic piece that's molded in. Looks like it belongs on a futuristic construction vehicle. But then I'm not a big fan of the way the arms collapse into the body, mainly because the ball joint tends to pop off if you don't put them in the exact proper position. There's not much clearance here with these protruding yellow pieces of plastic, so more often than not this happens. Plus they don't even tuck in all the way, and I can see the mushroom pegs from the top of the alt mode. Then there is the issue with the big hole in the top, making the whole thing look like an unfinished toy. The head is not going to stick out like this, so you push it into the body and now you're left with this said hole. And I can completely see what's going on inside, and the toy doesn't have any transforming parts to cover it up. So they just tell you to mount the gun on top to hide it. Wow guys, completely fixed it. But what if I don't want to display it with the gun? Then that's my problem? Oh boy. This is the biggest problem with this toy, bigger than all the other things I griped about, which are minor compared to this. Thankfully, the rest of the process is completely fine, actually more than fine. The way the legs form the rest of the alt mode is actually amazing, and it's pegged in nicely in 2 spots near the front wheels. Then, for the last step, reveal the porthole on the front and plug that drill in. That right there is the spicy meatball. This is pure, unrefined magic, making this alt mode look so good. That should be it if you've clipped everything in properly, and what we have is pretty special. Aside from that hole on the top. Special indeed, as the designers had free reign to make an alt mode for this movie design and completely understood the assignment. Well, except for the hole on the top. They fucked that up pretty hard. But the rest of it looks great, and it's truly a nice looking Cybertronian mining vehicle, perfect for a rough and grizzled Autobot like Brawn. My favorite part of this alt mode is the miner drill. It really gives this alt mode so much flavor. I even like how when you're not using it, it can display this vent in the front, which is a nice touch. Now the only missed opportunity here is being able to tuck the drill underneath the body so that you never have to unpeg it. But also, I understand, looking at the bottom and how the legs take up space, it wouldn't fit anyways. You would have to modify the legs to accommodate it. So I usually keep the drill on when I'm showing off the alt mode and store it on the rifle in those two combined modes we talked about earlier. I hate to keep bringing it up, but the hole on the top? Couldn't we at least find something to put there? At least the gun looks good mounted there. I'm not going to be tempted to take it out. It's just not hiding much of it because the rifle is skinny. And if you ignore the hole, it looks really good and it's actually perfectly positioned. Sometimes, if I'm messing around with the toy too much, the gun will fall off, but that's a small annoyance, I guess. Also, pegged wheels are slightly annoying, but it rolls fine enough. Actually, I'm surprised how good it rolls, considering the shins are clipping into the front assembly and not disturbing the wheels at all. Oddly enough, that small port is back, and again completely useless. You can fit the gun on it this time, but it lifts one of the back wheels up or outright stops the other from rolling. So, useless. Why is it here? Maybe a last minute design change that didn't get addressed properly? Who knows really, but I suspect that these toys may have been rushed to production and market. That's just my guess. But all in all, this is an alt mode that kicks ass and the robot mode is even better. I'm not trying to complete too many sublines because it will get expensive, but the Bumblebee Movie subline might be one to reconsider. You saw how much I like the deluxe class Wheeljack, and now you witness how much I like the Brawn toy. I'm giving our buddy here a 4 out of 5 stars. My biggest problem with this toy, preventing it from shining brighter, is that damn toilet hole on the top of the alt mode. But at least the rest of the toy is pretty amazing. If you're not hunting down a Brawn that has to be Earth mode or very close to the G1 design, then this is your guy. Even if you're like me and you want one of each, a Cybertronian mode and an Earth mode, this is your guy. Not because it's the only Cybertronian Brawn toy we got, but because it's actually a good toy. That mining alt mode is such a big attraction for this thing, and I appreciate the sheer imagination of it. Thematically, it all makes sense. That one scene in the movie is going to simultaneously get us all hyped every time we watch it, and as well make us sad, because I don't think we'll ever get a fleshed out film with those designs and aesthetics. I mean, that's what we want. Rise of the Beast didn't cut it. Don't tell me that it did. It did not. I'm sorry, but no. And also, Michael Bay is coming back as well. So he's gonna take his designs back and let's just enjoy what we have. There we go, another one down as we inch closer to finishing this damn episode. We have been covering characters from More Than Meets the Eye Part 1 for so damn long. But let me know if you enjoyed the episode with the ways that YouTube lets us, like, comment, share, all that stuff. Do whatever you want, really. Above all, I really appreciate you guys spending some of your time with me here, geeking out about Transformers. And I hope you have a great day, and peace out.